Hello everybody, Belle here. I am doing a video on Affliction. I know you guys thought you would never see the day when you would ever see me in an Affliction spec. But here it is in Legion, we are going to be doing Affliction. Now keep in mind that unlike my Destro video, because Destro is the class that I do main, I'm not going to really go in depth as far as rotation and things like that for two reasons. One, because this is still alpha. It's likely that a lot is going to change, and at some point we'll even render this video completely obsolete. However, I wanted to give you guys a nice little walkthrough just so that you had a base understanding of the latest updates and what that means. So let's talk a little bit about Affliction. Now, Affliction, it's a dot class, or a dot spec, always has been. That's been it's super powerful in PvP because of being able to put a lot of spread pressure with multiple dots on multiple targets. Not a spec I particularly fancy as far as my style of gameplay, but a lot of people love it and it's equally fun to play according to what I've heard from them. Look at this lovely gentleman giving you guys some video on a rogue. Always being DDoSed with these videos, guys. So let's talk about Affliction and what it's looking like in Legion. So they didn't really do a lot of humongous changes from what I remember in Affliction, but there is some different types of play here that I don't think was in previously. Once again, you guys know I don't do Affliction, but correct me if I'm wrong, any of you Affliction locks in some of the stuff we're going to talk about, including the Soul Effigy. So with Affliction, basically your corruption, your agony, your unstable affliction, and your drain life are going to be the majority of what you're going to be working with. You should also know that mastery is going to increase the damage of all of your dots. Now, what's really interesting here is same gear setup as far as haste goes, right? That much I do know regarding Affliction. Currently in Warlords of Draenor, haste is your go-to for that. And once again, here we are dealing with versatility. The interesting thing regarding that is for your human spirit, it's actually versatility as well. So that part's kind of annoying, just because I hate versatility myself, but it's played slightly different in Legion and what its uses are as far as gear is concerned and what it actually does for you. So you guys do see I do have the legendary, and that's just because I rolled a level 110 on a PvP server so that I can make sure I gave you guys the basis for all the spells, including at max level. Here is your view of what your window looks like, including your breakdown. I'm sure you guys have already noticed from the previous video if you watched it, or other videos that you might have seen on tons of other YouTube channels that are giving you guys this information. This is a new, cleaner style as far as giving you your stats. So with that, I'm actually going to flip around here to make sure that we do not get any kind of interruption from anybody playing. So with Affliction, as you guys see, you've still got your agony, your corruption, all the basic stuff that makes you a typical Affliction Warlock. You do get this beautiful Reap Souls, which consumes all tormented souls collected by your artifact weapon, increasing your damage by 10% and doubling the effect of the artifact weapon's other traits. So the basis for Affliction is going to be centered around your legendary, including all the things that you can add to it. So here's your window when it comes to this, and as you see, the majority of all of your cool stuff here when it comes to Affliction is going to be directly tied to your legendary, and it puts a bunch of stuff in there just because you're level 110, and it kind of gives you that stuff in advance. So with that, let's jump right into the talents and how we've got what options we have to choose from. So for your 15 set of talents, you've got your Haunt. Ghostly Soul haunts the target, dealing 135k shadow damage. If the target dies within 15 seconds, the haunt cooldown is reset. So with this cooldown, it is a 15-second cooldown. For this specific video, I chose to just do the Writhe with Agony. Agony's damage may now ramp up twice as high. Felt like that this would be something I wanted to showcase in the video. It also felt like there's probably going to be a lot of instances when this might be used versus the Haunt. Once again, because I don't main Affliction, I don't really have any ideas as far as possibly using your Drain Soul as well. Because your Drain Soul in that regard is probably going to be an integral part of your burst in a small fashion when it comes to generating your soul shard if the target dies, and making sure that you constantly have those soul shards up so that you can use them for what you need, your unstable affliction, and stuff like that. So drain soul probably going to be used as well because it does heal and it hurts at the same time, similar to your drain life. Now, for the seconds that you have contagion, your unstable affliction also increases all damage you deal to the target by 15%. Absolute corruption is now permanent and deals 40% increased damage. Duration reduced to 60 seconds against the players. So this here seems like it's going to be pretty powerful, and I'm going to tell you why. This is basically forever, right? Because it's permanent damage. So I'm going to actually show you what this looks like. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to show you. So when I dot up a target, right? So I'm going to corrupt that target. And because I have this on, this entire length of this video, this corruption is going to be here the whole time until the target dies. Now, what was funny about this is I actually thought that this was an accident, and I actually flew all the way to Vale of Eternal Blossoms because I couldn't get this to stop. Even logging out, that whole situation, I thought that was actually not intended, but now that I've actually read it, it is intended. So this makes it forever. Now, the things I'm thinking that this might be useful for, boss fights, so you don't have to keep applying that dot. That's how I feel, but I don't know any other instances. Those of you that main affliction might know what that would be useful for. And then, of course, you have your mana tap, which is good. Demon Skin, Mortal Coil, Howl of Terror. These are all going to be situational, especially when it comes to PvP. There will be instances in arenas and battlegrounds where Howl of Terror might be more useful. Mortal Coil seems to be more useful in arenas. As far as a defensive, Howl of Terror I like to use in RBGs on the Destruction Warlock for obvious reasons because it is an area of fear. Demon Skin also probably be really, really useful on a PvP level versus these two, because I don't imagine you'll use these two very often in a PvE setting or situation, so you're probably going to want to stick with the Demon Skin. Here's your good old fallback Siphon Life. That is still an option for you to choose. You also have your Soul of Seeds. Seed Corruption will now consume a Soul Shard if available to embed a Demon Seed in 4 additional nearby targets or enemies. So I'm thinking that this is probably going to be a good go-to as well, but keep in mind you do have your handy-dandy Soul Harvest here, which is going to generate 5 Soul Shards. Not really sure how useful this is going to be in your rotation as far as PvE is concerned, but we'll find that out probably in the latter part of Alpha when we start getting into some more beta situations. I'm sure you guys all heard that doorbell that DDoSed me in the middle of my video. That is what happens when your very rude brother orders pizza after hours. It is extremely late here in the PWNCAST house, and the doorbell rang and scared me. So let's go ahead and continue on with where we were at. So we were talking about this, and now let's get into the next one, which is going to be something that was really, really scary for me on the Destruction Lock when I did the Destruction video. So here we have your Demonic Circle, your Burning Rush, and your Dark Pact. Once again, these are going to be situational uses. So I know previously Affliction Warlocks relied heavily in PvP on their Demonic Circle, as well as their gateways. So not really sure what's going to be the choice here. Obviously, Burning Rush is pretty useful in PvE when you're doing a lot of running around to help you be a little bit quicker. And your Dark Pact is also good if you don't have either a reliable healer or you want to rely less on the healer. And you can, of course, use your Dark Circle for probably some mechanics on boss fights as well as in PvP per the usual. Standard here with your Grimoire of Supremacy, Service, and Sacrifice. Once again, pretty sure that I have Sacrifice up here. And for PvP, the Fell Hunter is always a really, really good one to have out just because you can utilize... You can utilize your Fell Hunter for its ability, which is here, and this is a spell lock. So they didn't change anything as far as the way that this works currently. The only thing that is interesting to me is when I sacrifice the demon, once again, I talked about this in the Destro video, I do not have the ability to maintain power over its special ability. So that's a little bit scary that that was removed, because sacrifice was something huge for a lot of warlocks, no matter what spec you were. in PvP. Gamora of Supremacy, still the same premise here. Not a huge deal. We talked about this previously in the Destro video. Now, your last situation set up here. So you have your Soul Effigy, your Phantom Singularity, which places a Phantom Singularity above the target, which consumes the life of all enemies within 25 yards. This is going to be great for your AoE damage, and also heals you for 30% of the damage done based off that as well. It does have a 1-minute cooldown. Your Soul Conduit, this does, as we talked about in the Destro video, every soul shard you spend has a 20% chance to be refunded. There are probably going to be a lot of instances when this is going to be pretty useful. And I'll leave that to you, Affliction Extraordinaires, to be able to figure that out. So in regards to your Soul Effigy, so here's what I've gathered and deduced in my research, trying to figure out what the hell this thing is and what it actually does. So for your Soul Effigy, when you pop it, there's going to be something really, really important here. You're going to want, until macros and you guys set up your macros, you'll be able to instantly swap back to it. Now, it's going to die a few times throughout this, but typically it shares the same health pool as whatever your target is. So whatever your target's health, it's going to share that same health pool, and it will remain open the entire time. So that's going to be super useful when it comes to dotting up your targets. So in dotting up your targets, you want to keep it on focus. Obviously, like I said, there's probably going to be macros that are going to be pretty useful for you in this instance. So when you keep it focused, what's going to happen is, so if you guys notice, we talked about in the beginning of the video, corruption's still here. That is courtesy of this absolute corruption. So this is literally going to be here 2 hours from now. It's still going to be doing it. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I think that's pretty legit. Obviously, for training dummy purposes, it's kind of annoying, but you'll also notice this random proc, which is compound interest. Your next unstable affliction deals 30 increased damage. This will actually stack, and when the effect stacks, I think I got it up to like 75. I got it up to 75. I don't think I've seen it go past 75. So now we're here. We're actually going to focus this, and we're going to apply dots. Now, as we do our dots, and it died instantly because this is dead now. Technically, we killed it. But have no fear, we're going to pop this right back open so that I can show you. So as you see, we're going to have this focused again. So the idea here, of course, is to, whatever happens here, literally that killed it, because it's, you know, it's a tiny guy training dummy. Naturally, it would kill it. So let's just do some dots over here, and then let's pop this guy again. And we'll see what this does here. So anything that you do here is going to do it to the target. I thought that was pretty neat. It is an interesting, different type of gameplay. It's a little bit interactive. It makes me not hate Affliction so much, just because I think this thing's kind of cool. I'm really, really enjoying just even the visual parts and the elements as far as the Warlock commanding it in the fantasy aspect of it. So this is your basic main breakdown. Now, once again, when I talked about destruction, we talked about the honor talents. There's a lot to cover here as well, and that'll have to be a completely separate video. So right now, that's what it's looking like. You guys can see the numbers, everything, a lot of damage going out right now. This is changing rapidly. They've already changed Affliction several times because they are tweaking the gameplay. They've done a lot of fixes. There's a couple band-aids that unfortunately are not the best type of band-aids, but I'm pretty confident, since the Warlock seems to be Blizzard's baby, I'm pretty sure that they're going to do its due justice. Once again, I don't like dot classes specifically just because I don't like the gameplay. I prefer to have a heavy burst, which is why I do prefer destruction. In the next video, I am going to be going over demonology, and I did enjoy the demonology gameplay quite a bit. Keep in mind that they did completely redesign the demonology, so when we go over demonology in that video, it's all new to me because it's new. Made total sense, right, guys? This is why I shouldn't do these videos so late, because I am literally exhausted. But as you see, here goes my corruption. That sucker is still going, literally. Still going, still doing things, able to dot all the targets, do all the things here. Didn't really need to repop that corruption since it is absolute. Now let's talk about what this guy does. So that actually was really, really cool. I really, really liked that, that little animation. Look at all that. Oh, that's so much fun. So, yeah, that's pretty much the breakdown. I don't think there's anything else that I wanted to show you guys. Obviously, you guys have noticed there's no glyph tab, so we're going to learn what that means as far as being able to acquire those and what that's going to mean and any additions it'll do for Affliction. So that's going to be our Affliction video, guys. Hope you enjoyed just a this was just a quick run through for you guys to get what you needed information-wise as far as what the spells are looking like, what the damage is looking like, and what possibilities you have as far as your talents. No other additions or things I saw taken out or removed as far as Affliction was concerned, outside of the small changes to all the Warlock stuff in general. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you give me a nice little like, give me a comment, ask me questions. If there's anything you would like to know specifically regarding Legion, feel free to comment on the YouTube channel, and Belle will take you all the way in depth in Legion and get questions and answers for you guys on that level, because that's the whole reason I wanted this, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here and be looking for the other videos that we have. I will be doing a video on the artifact questline for Affliction as well as Demonology. See you later.